Up to 100 people who fled the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan have landed in Perth overnight. The chartered flight was carrying Australian consular staff, as well as Afghan interpreters and contractors who helped Australia's war effort. After being processed, they arrived at a Perth hotel to begin 14 days in quarantine. But the situation remains highly volatile on the ground in Afghanistan.
Members of an Afghan-Australian family have filmed themselves taking shelter from gunfire as they tried to make their way to Kabul's airport. A number of Australians trying to catch a planned military evacuation flight say they've been forced to flee after Taliban guards threw smoke bombs, fired into the air and attacked people just outside the terminal gates. We're joined now by Jessica Warriner in Perth, Matt Dorrans at Parliament House for us. Good morning, both. Jess, firstly to you, take us through what's happened over there this morning.
So, of course, that first flight of evacuees from Afghanistan did land this morning at Perth Airport in the early hours of the morning, about 1:30. We had up to 100 people on that flight. As we heard before, it's a mix of Australians and Afghans, including customs personnel, consular officers, translators, people who served and assisted the ADF. Buses have brought the passengers here to the Hyatt Hotel in the middle of the city, where floors have been specifically set aside for these people. And we've seen both adults and children disembarking from these buses this morning.
And where will the evacuees be heading?
So from here, of course, it's 14 days in hotel quarantine, and both the state and federal governments have said they're going to be providing medical and mental health support as needed to these people after what they've been through. As to what happens from there, we're not quite yet sure, but of course we do know the government is aiming to get an increased amount of people back to Australia.
That's the plan. Jessica, thank you. Matt at Parliament House. So what is the latest on Australia's broader rescue mission in Afghanistan?
Well, we're waiting to see whether or not any other RAAF planes can get into Kabul. The latest cohort that were brought out of the country were actually on board a British RAAF flight back to the United Arab Emirates. We know that there has been an alert sent out to those who are in Afghanistan, as well as through the Smart Traveller website, saying that every Australian who is in the country and those Afghans who hold a protection visa should be making their way to Kabul's international airport as quickly as possible. But that is, in and of itself, a very fraught process. We have heard so many stories, including that of an Australian family who were sheltering along the fence line at the airport when gunfire was going over their heads. The only way they managed to get into the airport was through the support of a relative who managed to speak to a soldier and get them into that compound and then onto the flight. We've heard from other Australians saying that it is simply too difficult to get through some of the checkpoints that the Taliban have put in place because there is this crush of people trying to get access to the airport, and there has been some criticism of DFAT for putting out that call to get to the airport as quickly as possible without providing any more support. Michael?
Matt, Jessica, thank you both.